I know that I have said that I wasn't really gonna go for a gimmick. That I was gonna be genuine, and I wasn't gonna try to edit anything. And um, I've gone over the videos, and I can follow me because I know what I was saying. I do not think that there are those who, I guess, can't catch on to those ticks, or who are not able to follow, who haven't experienced that enough. I want to reach those too. I don't want to just reach out for the people that I am like and they are like and we are like. I It's about building the bridge and the connect to connect to connect to connect us in a way that it's not always going to be sunshine and roses, because sometimes it's going to be hailstorms. But for those like myself who struggle with certain disorders, who struggle with certain mentalities and things that are not good for them, whether they be behavioral, psychological, or chemical, um, the genuine me that I feel at all times, I do feel like an entertainer, actually. I think that's why I was so adamant and not about speaking against it and trying to convince myself that I wasn't going to do it, because I didn't want to come off as solely entertaining. But maybe I should be a little bit of an entertainer, and that's not, again, that's not for you guys. It is for me, but that's so far what the platform is about. It is a form of self therapy, and it is a therapy that I wish to share because it's beautiful, and I want others to see it. I want others to feel it, and the world has brought me so much joy. I want to bring the world joy back, and just like Jack Black, I could come up with something clever. But so I think that I am happy with the statement I am about to make, which is I am so proud of myself for it being day 3, Wednesday, because it started 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. I believe today is the 15th. Yes, it is. Okay, so the 13th, 14th, and 15th, I believe. Um, I have posted on what I believe has inspired me to post, to talk about. Well, there's a game called D&D that has a class called Bard that I just so happen to be not the best bard in the world. No, not the best bard in the world. don't that please don't sue me, Mr. Tenacious D. Please don't. That wasn't stealing that from you. That was an inspiration. But I had a character called Boggs the Bard, or well, Boggs Lahad, and his little thing, his little gimmick was he was an extremely crafty, um, sporadic, uh, very chaotic. His intentions with his work were for the betterment of those around him, and he was also looking for. He was also in his character, and part of what uh, this character's uh, personality trait was, um, when he did attach himself to someone, when he did become friends with someone, it was it was either good or bad for that person, because whatever was good or bad for it spread. What Boggs would do, it would kind of spread in very small circles in the game, and the DM that was overseeing the game, with all of the characters. The DM um, was very open to the character's personal thing inside his campaign. But Boggs, he was a bard, but he was an artificer. Someone who, I mean, he was an artificer. And then Boggs' storyline would go, um, because his artificer, because of his ability to tinker and build, and anything he could build in his mind, he would essentially attempt to build it over and over and over again, and it caused him, the character now in D&D, it caused him to get kicked out of a lot of places. Sounds a lot like me. That's because that's what Boggs the Bard, I believe, was based off of, was the part of me that I felt like I didn't want people to see. Because Boggs was a reclusive. Whenever he would go build something, he would go to his place. And to me, I really don't focus a lot on external things. I focus a lot on internal things. And finding the balance of that was the Bard. And the same thing with Boggs. Boggs found he found a way to balance out the overworking himself on conceptualizing the ideas that he had and trying to bring them forth into the world. So he found out that he had a little bard in him, and the kind of bard that he chose to be was, or the college, if you will, was the College of Eloquence, being able to weave words in a manner poetic, if you will. And when I am when I am not forcing it, and when it is simply letting itself be, I believe that I can be quite the eloquent bard, if you will. I can paint a pretty picture. I can either blow sunshine and rainbows up your ear, or I can, hey, that looks like some pretty shit. Sorry, my apologies for the cursing. I can't promise I'm gonna not do that in the future. Although part of me would have, because of me thinking about what other people are thinking, working on that too. Which is again the very base of the platform is self therapy. It is going to evolve, and that is the point of this video, is to share that, so I don't leave you guys out. Because again, I know that if I'm going to reach an audience, which again I know at first I correct myself in my head. Those little things that I do, I'm correcting myself in my head first. And because remember, I was saying that I do a lot of analyzing it. The moment I say something, I'm analyzing it. But Boggs the Bard, and that was that radiance that I felt that I had lost, that I was speaking of in the previous videos. And I want to bring the Bard back, because I believe that the Bard in me will finally be able to, will be able to eloquently paint the pictures, and I'll be able to build things that I can hold in my mind. I'll be able to build them out here, and they will do good for others. That's what, because that's what Boggs was all about. Boggs was all about building things. Like, someone needed something, Boggs would build it. Um, he would make it happen, essentially, and at whatever cost. Sometimes it would cost him a great deal. And oh, by the way, Boggs the Bard, he just to conceptualize him, imagine yourself a wee bit 3 foot high. You got like this greyish colour rock skin with slight purple into it. Yeah, you look as ugly as ever, but because of the way you're able to weave certain magics, you can kind of you can kind of deter people from seeing you as the physical form, which is pretty rough on the outside. You're not really, the outside does not match what's on the inside, and you know that's Boggs the Bard. He's a deep gnome, which is a sub race of gnome, which are from the Underdark. They're further away from the light, and they actually don't have average, like the gnome in the D&D. An average lifespan, I want to say, was like 300 to 400 years. The deep gnomes average lifespan, much lower than that, because of the hazardous conditions that they live in. Well, Boggs is he's from the Underdark, but he wasn't raised there. He was raised by a wood gnome, or I want to say it's a wood gnome. He was raised by he was raised by a gnome called Knickknack, and Knickknack, honestly, I don't think Knickknack is someone in my life personally, I think Nick Nack was just the representation of the thing that set me on the path that I was, that Boggs was on, that I was on. Because again, Boggs Lahad is an extension of myself. The only character that I've ever developed as a D&D character that I've ever developed that was an extension purely of myself in all aspects. And so again, I think that instead of trying to build a platform that is about something, about solely something, one thing, I think that I should make this an extension solely of myself, purely of myself. There will be inspirations. There will be times where it's like, holy crack, is this actually okay? Is this a little too much? Um, and I live and see that's the thing about bards, the bardic nature, is that they live and learn the hard way because they go out there and get the experience. They are filled with the desire of adventure and the loftiness that can fill my being, the purity of what I feel now, and that these particular this whole inspiration came from wanting to post about what had inspired me earlier, and then I had set my phone down and I had said to myself, that was it. And it's like almost a blanket of air that would take the shape of feathers. The air itself would take the shape of feathers. The texture, it would just wash over me. Because it's so many sensations at once. The air would just form these feathers around me and just and there was another channel that I had, or that came to me. I come to me anyway. Thank you, algorithm, for doing what you do. Um, but it is a channel which I do recommend for anybody actually. That I would recommend at least watch it or at least check it out. And if it's for you, oh man, watch it because the name of the channel is the Charismatic Voice. I only watched one episode, and the hostess, she is a bard. That's the way I see it. She is a bard. She is a storyteller too, or maybe not a storyteller, but she's an appreciator. She's the glamour, if you will. I don't even know how to. I don't because I haven't seen enough of her. But what I saw of her service, she was also inspired. Like cause she was listening to Kickapoo from Jack Black, which it's great. So I know this is long winded. That's just who it is. That's who I am. So I will work on that. That is not going to be that final answer, but the evolution of my platform on this channel, the evolution of this channel, it's starting already, and I'm gaining more appreciation for the aspects of what people do with their channels and how they work their channels in the way that they do, because yeah, they are getting their points across. They are entertaining in the sense, but those they're entertaining and those they are teaching, they're still doing both, but they're doing it. And let the inspirations continue and spread the love, pay it forward, good to yourself and others.